my first instinct is to figure out where the shots are coming from. I've seen too many instances where people start running, don't know where they're running, and start running towards the shot, and end up getting shot. It seemed like he was trying to grab me. And at that point, I'm kind of like, nah, it's not going down like that. And that's just what I thought. So I took off. Obviously, they ended up catching me. They tased me from like 30 feet. I didn't even know tasers could go that far. And the first thing the cop says to me was like, he was like, what are you doing? We should have shot you in your head.
For shooting someone literally took me to my knees. So I was like, I could never see you shooting a human being.
Yeah.
Welcome to another episode of Keeping It Real, where we have real conversations with real people. This episode is very special. It's near and dear to my heart. Why? Because my guest for today is someone that I know and that I love, and I actually had a hand in bringing him in this world. It's my son, Aris Scott, and it's going to be a sensitive topic, one that's going to be probably tough to navigate, but we're going to get through it. He and I actually thought about it, and we thought it'd be a really good idea just to share an experience that he had that occurred to him this past December of 2023. His year didn't start off great, and I'll allow him to share more with that. I want to get in a conversation right now with my son, Aris Scott. Welcome.
Hey.
You know what? I'm excited for you being here, even though it is a sensitive topic, because I just want to applaud you for having the courage to even have this conversation, because it's not easy, right? So let's just, before we get into that, tell people who you are, what you do for a living, and just what your impact is in the community so far before we get into everything else.
Born and raised in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. Attended Delaware State University, graduated from there in 2017. Currently a high school football coach at Central Dauphin East High School. Real estate agent, obviously. I've been in real estate. It'll be 3 years next week, I believe. I might have that wrong.
Oh, you have an anniversary coming up.
But yeah, I do have an anniversary coming up. I'm not sure if it's June or July. That's bad. But it's going by pretty quickly.
It's forever.
Yeah, it's going by pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Having some success there. I just passed my first full year of doing real estate full time, so I don't have any other, jobs or anything besides coaching. Yeah, that's pretty much what I'm doing right now, and how I got here.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're enjoying everything that you're doing so far, for your community and everything.
Yeah, for sure. And I think, growing up in our community, and then coming back after college and stuff, I kind of get a sense of, trying to help where I can. I'm not trying to be like an activist or spearheading any, community or city change or nothing like that, but
right.
I try to get in where I fit in.
Okay. So you don't see yourself as a change agent. Is that what you're saying?
No.
That's not your purpose in life?
No, I don't.
That's cool.
I mean, it may be, but it won't be. I feel like everybody can impact things differently.
Mm-hmm.
I won't be, leading a conference speaking.
Yeah.
Getting into with my inner Malcolm X or nothing like that. But
oh my gosh, Malcolm X is extreme.
But yeah, I think, wherever I can help at as far as what I feel comfortable doing,
Mm-hmm.
Mainly just kids.
Okay.
Trying to impact them. And I'm trying to show them that, there's other things that you can do to be successful or, go, shine some light somewhere else or, figure out what you can do.
Yeah. So let's rewind back to December of 2023. I literally remember when you and I had our one-on-ones, because we have one-on-ones every quarter, right? Mm-hmm. And you were just really excited about 2024. Like, this was your year. You had some crazy, audacious goals, which I love because that's just near and dear to my heart, right? As long as they're realistic and you can obtain them. I mean, there's nothing that you can, I should say, as long as they're realistic, you can obtain them, right? Mm-hmm. Based on your previous year's goals. So, December 23rd, 2023 mm-hmm. was a very pivotal moment for you, right?
Yeah.
Probably an experience that you'll never forget. And we thought it was important to share. So share with us what actually happened that day. Like, what was so life-changing?
So it was about, I'm not sure what time it was. I can't get that specific, but I got a phone call from one of my friends stating that they needed a ride. They were drunk, whatever the case may be. And, me being the friend that I am, I come get you. I want to get you, DUIs or anything like that.
Right. Responsible citizen.
Right, for sure.
A little bit too much to drink.
Yeah.
That's the truth.
So I went to go get him. And in between me going to pick him up and me actually getting there, his phone died. So I'm not knowing where he's at, what he's doing, or what's going on. So I'm thinking like, well, it's only but so many people that's going to be here. I'm going to eventually see him coming out. So I get there, and obviously I see people I know, talking to certain people, regular conversations, catching up, whatever the case may be. And within maybe, I say max 5 minutes of me being there, it was shots that went off, and I'm not sure who was shooting.
You were at the building, or was it?
I was in front of the building.
Okay.
So as I walk down 3rd Street, I'm walking down, I get in front of the building, I'm talking to people, and I'm standing in front of the building, and some shots went off. I think it was on her. I'm not sure. But when the shots started happening, my first instinct, and I think I kind of, talked about you this before off air, just based upon, situations, we've been in, growing up. When I say we, I mean like my friends and stuff, or people that, I grew up around. Obviously, that wasn't my first time being around shots, gunshots, shootouts, whatever the case may be. So my first instinct is to figure out where the shots are coming from. I've seen too many instances where people start running, don't know where they're running, or start running towards the shot, and they're getting shot. So I think the first thing that I was trying to do is figure out where the shots was coming from. So I didn't move. And luckily, I got the tape from my lawyer, and you could see me on the camera. I'm standing in front. Everybody's running this way, and I'm just looking like, who's shooting? Why are they shooting? Who are they shooting at?
Yeah, so you're taking notes of the area.
Trying to figure out what's really going on. So I can't really distinguish what's going on or try to figure out who's shooting or why they're shooting or who they're shooting at. So I kind of wait, and it was, I'm not sure how many shots it was, but as they're going off, I kind of like, get behind a car, and then I start walking back towards my car. So when I'm walking back towards my car, this whole time thinking like, man, I didn't, my homie's still in there, or he's outside somewhere. I'm not even knowing what's going on. So I go back, and I get my gun out the car, and I'm standing at the corner. At this point, I don't even walk back down to where the shooting was at. One thing leads to another. Cops get there. I guess they're trying to de-escalate the situation. I really don't know the protocol for cops when they get calls about shootings. But they get there. They're kind of aggressive. And I mean, rightfully so. I mean, I don't really blame them for the aggression while you're there. But I feel like once you figure out that it's no victims, like nobody got shot that night.
Right.
Once you figure out it's no victims, you're just trying to, clear the area, make sure everybody gets to where they got to go. And I'm not sure why, but for some reason, they decided to ask me like what I had, or, supposedly I fit a description of a shooting suspect or whatever.
Do you think they saw you going to your car at all?
No, because when I went to the car, the street was empty. Everybody was like running everywhere. On my way back to my car, I see people like falling on the ground, like hiding behind undercars and stuff like that.
So why did you go to the car? Why do you think you had to go to the car and get your gun?
Because I seen too many instances where like innocent people get shot, or like, and at that point I'm like, I'm protecting me and whoever I'm here to, get. And when I think about it, like, could I have done something different? Like, yeah, I could have. But at the same time, like, and this may sound crazy, but I think what's happening to me right now, I would rather deal with that than me or someone I was supposed to get end up being shot or dead or something like that. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Because one, it wasn't like I was getting my gun to be like John Wick. You know what I'm saying? Like, I wasn't there just like to shoot up the place.
Look, I'm thinking, who's John Wick? You know your mom.
Oh yeah, he's a movie guy, but basically he's real surgical with weapons though.
Okay,
like,
okay.
Take anybody out.
Like, who's John Wick?
But yeah, I wasn't there to like, try to, it's a shoot, let me go get my gun so I can shoot at somebody. Like, nah.
So you got the gun to protect yourself.
I got the gun. It's not like I got the gun, put it on my waistband.
Right.
Like, just in case something were to, happen again. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I done seen a lot of different situations where stuff like this happen.
Right. And I know you also have a license to carry too.
Right.
Okay.
So
you're there.
Yeah, so I'm there. Cops get there. They're asking everybody to leave and stuff. And then there's also things going on during that time that could have de-escalated the situation, not only with the cops, but the people that were on the block as well. But at the same time, like I said, it's all about accountability. Like, I take accountability for what, I did, how it happened. But I do think once we get to this point, things kind of changed because they asked me, do I have a weapon on me? Like, why me out of all people do you ask? Like, that's how I feel like, I may have fit a description or,
right.
Like you said, they could have saw me, but I don't think they saw me. I mean, I know for a fact they didn't.
So can I paint the scene? So you went to your car, you come back, you're at a street, right? You're on a corner, and then they come up to you on that corner, coming from where the shootings came from. Yeah. So from the time I go to my car and get back on the corner, no cops are there. I'm not facing the street though. So within the next 3-4 minutes, there's probably like 6 cop cars that pull up, and they're all the way down 3rd Street. So they're from the corner of her street to that next block. So they're all walking towards, the HMAC where it was at. How many were there? Total cops? I don't even know, but it was a lot. More than 10? Yeah, for sure. Okay. We'll kind of get into that. But yeah, they asked me, did I have a weapon? Obviously I did. And at that point, I wasn't aware of, I'm not going to say aware. I really didn't know what to do next at that point. Because I'm thinking, okay, well, it was just a shooting. They're asking me, do I got a weapon? That means they have some type of idea that I do or think I do. Yeah. And it just goes back to like my interactions with cops through my whole life. I think, let's just say I had 10 interactions with cops in my life. Could be more, could be less. Let's just say 9 of them were bad. So I'm not thinking that it was just a shooting, right? Y'all don't know who did it. And you're asking me questions like that. I'm not thinking this is going to be a good interaction, right? That's fair. So at that point, I'm kind of like confused because it went from 1 cop to 2 cops to 3 cops. And I'm looking at these cops like, what's about to happen next? So obviously, cop, what do you got on you? Da-da-da. He started walking towards me and he went to like, it seemed like he was trying to grab me. And at that point, I'm kind of like, nah, it's not going down like that. And that's just what I thought. So I took off. So you started running? Yeah. And as I'm running, I actually just talked to my lawyer about this recently. You can see me on the body cam saying like, I don't want to be searched. Like, I have the right not to be searched. You know what I'm saying? But I think me running gave him that probable cause to be able to, So as I take off, the gun drops. And all I hear is he got a gun. So at that point, I'm like, they're about to start shooting. So I immediately just duck. Yeah. And I'm running. I think I just hit the mic. And I'm running. And I'm not even thinking about anything but what am I going to do when I get to this next block? Like, I'm thinking like, all right, I got to get to this street. I'm going to hit this alleyway. Because I'm already knowing, like, Right. So I'm running through the apartment complex. And all I hear is, we're losing them.
And I'm definitely thinking like, yo, they're about to start shooting for sure, 100%.
Yeah, what were you feeling like right there?
It's all adrenaline. Because I'm thinking, well, first, not to say it was like supposed to go down like that, but I had on like I had some Asics on, like some sweatpants. Like I wasn't there to be outside. I'm literally there to pick somebody up. So I'm not in like jeans, shirt, you know. I'm in stuff that I can run anyway. With my adrenaline going and I'm already like, you know, I'm active. Like I work out and stuff like that. So I'm like, they're not catching me. That's all I'm thinking. Like I'm not getting caught.
Right.
Because I don't know what they're going to do, you know. So obviously they end up catching me. They tased me from like 30 feet. I didn't even know tasers could go that far. But when I got tased, like the whole upper half of my body just felt like I was paralyzed. So I dropped and then I hit my face on like right in front of the curb. If it would have been like a couple more inches further, I would have hit my face on the curb. But I hit my face on the curb and then I just felt like a whole bunch of people just like ridiculous amount of force. Like my back of my head, my neck, my legs. So they're cuffing my legs and my hands at this point. And the first thing the cop says to me was like, he was like, "What are you doing? We should have shot you in your head when I was running." So I'm not even thinking like, cause like the fear factor, I don't think it was like a true set like fear of me running, like for my safety. It was a fear of me running because like, yo, I go to jail. I'm going to be on Penn Live tomorrow and I'm going to have to deal with all this nonsense. Like, you know, I'm not even worried about the whole, like, my actual safety of my body. You know what I'm saying?
That's probably the most ridiculous thing.
I mean, it is. But at the same time, it's just
the last thing you should be thinking about is you being on Penn Live. How about you being alive?
For sure. But then you got to think like me personally, like literally feel like me, not just like a black boy from the inner city, just me personally. Like all my friends done been to jail, are in jail, or dead. You know what I'm saying? And me being the one that never had to experience any of that, I felt like, you know, and people tell me that like, yo, bro, like, you know, you was the one growing up, like, you know, regardless of anything else, like whether I was with them when anything happened or I might have did something I didn't get caught for, whatever the case may be, it was like you made it. Like you were the one that's supposed to be like, you know?
Yeah. So
at 30 years old, I'm about to be on Penn Live for a gun charge and they're trying to stick a shooting on me. Like my felonies was like aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, reckless endangerment, carrying a firearm without a license. Like it was all types of crazy stuff.
Yeah.
So when the judge was reading me that stuff, I'm like, what?
So how many cops do you think were actually on you? So they got you, they tased you, and then they jumped on you. How many do you think jumped on you? Do you know?
At least like 4 or 5.
Okay, so there were 4 or 5 cops that jumped on you. Yeah. And explain that experience, because I know that you share with me, you know, behind closed doors, what that experience was. Like, what were they doing when they had you on the ground?
Like typical stuff you see on like Twitter, Instagram, stuff like that, like knee, like on the back of your head, on the back of your neck, whatever the case may be. Holding your legs together, holding your hands behind your back. And I can't remember. I do know that when he was putting my hands behind my back, I did tell him like, yo, I'm not resisting. Like I remember saying that. But the rest of it is just like, I don't know what type of conversations we had. But I do remember my friend, he kept saying like, yo, y'all doing too much. I don't know. I can't like literally remember exactly what was happening during that time.
Right.
But you knew it was like too much.
Yeah. And
even during that, I'm like, I think my adrenaline's still going, so I can't feel the pain at this point. So I don't even know like what's hurt, what's not, you know? Mm-hmm. All I remember is laying there and this girl I know, she had her phone out recording. And the first thing I said was like, yo, we're not doing that. That's all I was worried about. Like, I don't want to see this on Instagram. I don't want to see this on nobody's story. I don't want you talking about free me and do all this, you know?
Yeah. So that's like a whole other episode, like seriously, because you keep going back to, you were more concerned about your image versus your well-being. Yeah. And I don't know if that's a generation thing or if that's just a type of personality set or what that is, but that's concerning in itself. Like, you know what I mean?
I think it was like I think it was embarrassment, you know?
Of what?
Just
what
being.
What were you embarrassed of? You were identified as a
Right.
person of interest clearly because they came up to you. You don't know if they saw you get the gun out of the car or whatever, but whatever reason, they decided to ask you a question. So instead of staying there and allowing them to ask the questions, you may see a totally different story. It may be a totally different story that
For
we're having. We
sure.
may not even be having this story. And yet because of you're profiled, you believe you were profiled, right? As a black man, that was just at a shooting that, hey, we need to ask him questions. So instead of cooperating, you said, nope, I'm not going to deal with it because of past experiences.
Right. Yeah, and then just like
I'm just going to run. I want to
Right.
run. I'm going to be safer if I run.
and just,
And then getting caught and tased and caught, jumped on. And the first thing he says to you is,
yeah, we should have shot you in the head.
we should have shot
Yeah,
you
that
in
was
the
crazy.
head.
That was crazy. That was crazy. I ain't gonna lie. That was crazy. But at the same time, it's like, it's sad, but like we normalize stuff like that. When I say we, I mean like from experiences, stuff that we saw. Like, I'm not, like, if that would have happened, like, obviously it didn't for a reason, but like, let's just say they do shoot and I survived that, I wouldn't have been surprised. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not something I would have been like, oh my God, I can't believe they shot at me. It's like, I was more so like, wow, they didn't shoot. Because literally, this past weekend, a little boy was running from the cops and got killed. Same area, same style, cops running after him. You know what I'm saying? So like, I don't, and it is crazy because like I said, stuff like that is kind of like normalized. Like seeing people get like shot, people get killed. Like I had to experience like death at a young age, like when it comes to like gun violence, and then also like, you know, police doing stuff like that. Like that was like, I don't know.
So what do you think the difference was then? And my heart goes out to everybody that's ever had to deal with gun violence or, you know, the perception of police brutality, right? Or the actual actions of police brutality. And I'm just grateful that you're here to even have the conversation. And hindsight being 2020, there's some things that I believe after hearing your story that probably could have eliminated the actions that they took. However, I do think the police force has a responsibility to make you feel safe so that you won't feel like you have to flee.
And I feel like if you ask anybody I'm not gonna say anybody because we don't all have the same experiences, but if you go through, and I can like literally have a survey of me asking people I grew up with or people that I know around the same age as me and ask them like, yo, do you feel safe around cops? I know what the answer is going to be. No. Like, and I think that's where like the disconnect comes in at, because it's like, that has been like that for so many years that is the norm. Like we don't look at cops as safety or protect and serve. It's more so like us versus them type of thing, you know?
Right.
So I couldn't tell you. I don't know how. I don't even know how to bridge that gap because it's been like that for so long and so much has happened. You know what I'm saying? And like even with like after me getting arrested, obviously they ain't supposed to make you feel good. Like when you get arrested, like at this point they're thinking like he was just shooting at people, whatever the case may be, and he was trying to run, and he got a gun on him that's, you know, whatever type of gun, you know.
Yeah.
But I get put in a cop car, and it's like I'm starting to feel a little, you know, I can start to feel like I'm starting to calm down a little bit. And then I get to the hospital because my hands was bleeding, my face was bleeding, my finger was cut open. Like it was crazy. I had blood everywhere. But I was sitting in the hospital for probably like an hour, like just sitting there. So they had to do like examine me and stuff to make sure when I got tased, make sure I didn't have any like super swelling or anything. And then I went to booking, and I was like that. I think that's when it set in, when like they closed the door. I know that's like some movie stuff, but that's real. Like they closed the door, and I'm like, damn, I'm really in jail. Like I'm about to be in jail. That's what I thought. And I'm just sitting there, and as like my adrenaline starts to go down.
Were you ever thinking, but for what? Why am I in jail?
I did.
I know I sure would be. Like, why am I here?
I did, but at the same time, it's like I said, they don't really. If they can make up something, they don't need no reason.
And let's talk about that. So they finally arrived with you, and they said what? What did they say? Like, what are your charges?
Well, it's crazy because my charges when I first got booked was having a gun without a license and then fleeing arrest. When I got to the hospital, the cop is talking to somebody. They was like, yeah, we got him here at the hospital. It was like, and then I heard the guy on the other end, a little walkie-talkie or whatever. He was like, yeah, he's been ID'd as the shooter. And I'm like, what? And then the cop is like, don't say anything. Don't say anything. And then he walks away and then tries to cover it so I can't hear the rest of what he's saying. I'm like, bro, do y'all job. That's what I told him. I said, do y'all job. And I ain't here to tell him about, I'm never going to do that.
And no one got shot?
No victims. Nobody got shot. No, nothing. I think a car's window got shot out and that was it. I don't think it was like intent to shoot anybody. I think it was just somebody. I think it was kids, honestly, but I really don't know. Nor do I care. Nor do I, whatever. Like they did it, whatever. I ain't here to be no cop. I ain't here to do their job. They need to do their job if it's that serious. But clearly y'all thought it was that serious because for whatever reason. But then I get to the hospital and then I got all these other charges. And then I see the judge the next day and I got more charges. So I ended with 6 felonies. By the time I saw the judge, when I got arrested, I had 2. And I'm just looking at her like, bro, I'm not even going to say what I was saying, but I'm like, come on.
I'm glad. Thanks.
Yeah, like, for real. And I'm like, so now what? Set a $100,000 bond for somebody you don't know did what? Obviously ended up bonding out, but that whole situation, just like I'm in there, hell, it's just a lot. That whole experience, just being in there. And like, obviously, I'm not trying to sit here and act like I was doing a hard time, but just going from having your freedom to not having your freedom, it's just like crazy. I don't know how people go to jail for 12, 15, 20 years.
Yeah, from the parents' perspective, so I get a phone call or I had a text message and then I didn't see it until the morning. And I heard that you were in jail. I'm like, what, in jail? And they said for shooting someone. I was like, for shooting someone literally took me to my knees. So I was like, I could never see you shooting a human being. Yeah. And I'm just like, what happened? And the whole time, like, okay, we need to go down there. They're like, no, you can't go down there. He's not going to be able to be seen. It was just it was a mess. Yeah. Like literally just like tears, like, oh my gosh, his life is ruined. So it was just like, from a parent's perspective, that's the last thing that you want to hear.
Right. And then I feel like, I'm not sure who gave you the information, but based upon the story that you got, it was totally different from, obviously, than what really happened.
Yeah.
Because based upon what you were telling me, they made it seem like I was just down there shooting. They said I had like a silencer on the gun or something.
Yeah, like, some crazy. I'm like, what in the world? Like, Aris has a different lifestyle that I don't even know about. This is crazy.
That's what I'm saying. If you watch John Wick, you would know he'd be having crazy guns like that.
Oh.
So he'd be,
okay.
He really get to it. But yeah, I don't know.
I'm just grateful that you're here. Like, I truly am grateful that you're here, because it could have been a whole different story that I've been telling without you being here in the seat about, gun violence and how it took away one of my children.
Yeah, for sure.
Because he even said it. I should have shot you in your head.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
Anytime you hear a cop, from my experience and what I've seen in life in general, whether it be the internet, real life, whatever, they say he has a gun, they're shooting. Because at this point, they're there to protect themselves.
Then there was nothing but the grace of God and his guardian angels that kept you that evening. So from this experience, what have you learned? Because there's a couple things I could just rattle off.
Yeah, obviously the big picture, just like, really think stuff through. And I think I'm like a real good, like, critical.
Think stuff through as in?
Critical thinker.
Before you even went to the car, was it necessary for you to go to the car?
Right. That's what I'm saying. So I'm just saying, like, the whole thing, like, from beginning to end, like, just the thought process of going to the car, the thought process of retrieving the gun, the thought process of running when the cops was there, the thought process of whatever.
Right.
Whatever else.
Just staying there and allowing them to ask you questions. And if they do bodily harm to you, then you have you know, considering that you're going to survive the bodily harm that they put on you if they choose that route,
right,
then it's going to be their fault.
Yeah. It's just...
Now, the police has a responsibility. I truly believe the police enforcement, law enforcers, they have a responsibility to figure out how in the world are they going to bridge the gap between inner city children and their fear of them. And I'm sure, quite certain, there's people in our area and around this country that are trying to do that, and yet there's not enough that's being done. Because given the situation that he was in, he decided to flee. You decided to flee.
Yeah, for sure. And
now you had these bogus charges trumped up against you, almost ruined your whole livelihood.
Yeah.
Because of them wanting to fix a mistake that they know that they made.
Yeah. Yeah. And
you're still living with it.
Yeah, still. I mean, but shout out to my lawyer. She's doing a very, very good job.
Yeah.
Very good job with that. And it's all working out. And then, I think I know it'll be, it'll be how it's supposed to be. And just learning from it. And then obviously just, speaking from experience. Like I said, I'm not trying to push any, police outreach programs or anything like that. But I think being able to go through that, and not only personally, but seeing other people go through it. Like I didn't, like I said before, like all of my friends from when I was a kid went to jail, or have some experience with the cops, or in jail right now, or just not here. So they've been in and out systems. I've seen stuff like that, but I ain't never think it would happen to me. Like I said, I'm not here to try to make it seem like I did hard time or nothing like that, but it's different when you're the one behind a door. You can't really do what you want. Can't go to the bathroom. Can't use your phone. So I think that experience was just one in itself.
Yeah.
Hands bleeding, bed's hard.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing your experience.
Yeah. So
that took a lot out of you.
Yeah.
You still here.
Yeah.
Sure. Thank you. So to our viewers and that people that are following us, do me a favor. I would love to hear your story. Love to hear your story on how you overcame in a situation that may not have been so great with a police officer. And police officers, if you're watching this, or ex-law enforcers, if you have any idea on how we can bridge the gap between inner city or just Black and Brown's interactions with the police, I would love to hear from you, because one thing I don't want it to be is about one-sided and no opportunities for everyone to grow together. So thank you for watching. Until next time, we'll see you.